So I'm going to show you how I made this guy. And so when I was talking about textural detail, you could add some hair come out of his nose. I'm going to show you how to make a worm. These are the little dots. These are like little nose hairs. You don't have to put those there. They're on the example, but they're not as important. This is lichen or lichen. I don't know how to pronounce it right. And it can also be considered bark too. Now, more than likely, I'm not going to give you any paint to glaze these with. So all these bits and pieces of clay and various stages of projects. All right. So remember, the first thing is you're going to make an egg shape. Now, whatever clay you're not working with, do not let it sit around or it will dry up. So I only need this much. I'm going to put this in here. Oh, I'm going to need that in 5 minutes. Well, guess what? In 5 minutes, it won't be as soft as it is right now. So take the time to keep your projects from drying out, put them in a plastic bag. And it can be anything that's plastic, you know, like a dry cleaner bag. I also make sure your sponge is nice and wet. I like to roll my stuff on a wet sponge rather than spraying. Why? Because when it's wet, it's slippery. And I like to have, you know, a cloth napkin laying around. It's better than a paper ones, just really dry out your hands. And the cloth ones are better for the environment because I use that same cloth one for about a week before I wash it. Paper towels you tend to use once and then throw them away. So it's better for the environment. I mean, old t-shirt, cut up a t-shirt, cut up some pajamas, something cottony. Cotton's the best. Okay, so is this an egg shape? Not yet. So what I need to do is make it narrower here. So I put my palms together and I go like this. Ta-da, now it's narrower. Thinner up here, fatter down here. This kind of nose is called a bulbous nose, B-U-L-B-O-U-S, bulbous. Oh, it's good. I forgot to put the L in there somewhere. Anyway, bulbous. So think of like a light bulb, sort of. But more than likely the word came from a bulb, like a tulip bulb that you put in the ground. Okay, that's good enough. Now, figure out which side you want to be the top, and that would be the side with the least amount of lumps and cracks. And I'm going to just make that nice. Okay, so now just don't leave it like that. You got to flatten the bottom. Remember to cup your hand and not to smash it too much. And if you're afraid of smashing it too much, you can also get a ruler, or like the back of a wooden spoon works. What happened to my ruler? Or you can use this guy, your rib. All of that works, okay? Now it's going to grow a little bit because you flattened it. It's kind of big, but you know what? Who cares? It's going to go on a tree or a wall or a fence, or you decide where you're going to put this. All right, then remember I said make 2 different balls. Okay, make 2 balls different sizes, a better way of saying that. So this one, I'm going to make this size. Make them kind of round. Sometimes you have to go like that to make them round. And then I'm going to make one this size. So this one's too big, this one's too small. So I'm just going to take some clay from here and add it to this guy. And then I'm going to take some clay here, or just roll it, I should say. Okay, this one is still a little small. I'm going to add a little bit more clay. Now, I didn't tell you how to do this in the written directions, because I'm afraid it would have been a little bit confusing. Okay, so first of all, don't put them too far down there. They should be up. There should be some depth right there, some height. As a matter of fact, it's looking a little flat, so I'm going to push that up. I'm going to sculpt that up a little bit, and I can because I got plenty of clay. All right, so I want them to go there. So then I'm going to flatten the bottom. Flattened it. Then this one's still a little too small. Let me add a little bit more. Good enough. Now, what I also like to do, I can't stress this enough, is get a big sponge. Okay. That's good. That's what I want. Get a knife, or you can use your pin tool. Where's my pin tool at, by the way? Let's see. I need this, and I need this. I need that. Here it is. Now, if you lose any of your tools, you need to contact me, and I can give some to Jose. All right, so there's the balls. Now, this is something I didn't tell you to put. I didn't put this in your notes, but this is something you have to do. You need to cut the side here, and then you need to cut the side there, because you're going to add it to your nose so it sticks on there better. Get your slip. And so here's water, and then there's the slip. I'm telling you right now, plastic fork, it works wonders. I'm gonna put that there. Put that there. I'm gonna push them against the side here, so then I can see where the slip is and where I need to score. And then I'm gonna go here. And this needs a little bit more. This needs a little bit more. All right. And you smush them on there. That's not enough. They're not going to stay if you do that. You have to smooth. So slip, score, and then smooth. So I'm going to start with the back, and sometimes using a modeling tool helps, because it if the clay is a little damp, it doesn't move it around. It's not any easier. It just keeps it from. Sometimes the clay gets slippery and it's hard with your fingers to grab the clay and smooth, whereas this can grab it. All right. So I did the back. Now I have to do the front. And when you do the front, what's going to happen is it's going to change the shape of that ball of clay, and you need to bring it back to, it's getting a little dry. You need to bring it back to where it's more round. So I'm using the side of my modeling tool. I swear to God, you can even probably use a pencil, but I don't know. I don't want to. It might leave too many dents. Okay, so I smooth that shape in there. I'm going to come over here and use the, you guys, I don't know what, those people who've got the super long fingernails, I don't know how you're going to do this. Go to Michael's and buy a bunch of different modeling tools, I guess. I don't know. Or just cut them. Get rid of those things. All right. Now it looks kind of funny because now it's kind of squished. So what I'm going to do is smooth this out with my sponge. And this is why I thought maybe getting this kind of sponge for smoothing would be good. It's okay. I mean, it's not, what's interesting is it kind of brings out the sand in this clay. I do that, but whatever. Okay. When you work with your hands, don't just work with this part of your hand, work with your whole hand. And for what I want you to do now is you're going to put the ball for the nostril in the palm of your hand and smush like that. And why? Because you want to keep this round, and you want to bring it back in because it got elongated. It got stretched out a little bit. And so now I am, see, and you made this line. You don't want that line. And if you're having problems, you can always just add a little bit of clay right there. Things happen, whatever, fix it. Do what you need to do to fix it. And I'm using this side of my finger. I'm not using the tip right now. I'm using the side. So I imagine that's what you're going to have to do if you have those really scary long fingernails. That's good enough. Okay. Now I'm going to smooth. And the best tool you got to smooth with is your finger. Now I want to make sure it sticks out a little bit more here. See the profile? I want it to come out a teeny bit more there. So when you add clay, for whatever reason, do it a little bit at a time. So I'm going to put some clay there. And I just want to build up the tip of the nose. And why do you do it this way? Because if you just put a giant glob of clay there, it can pop off after it dries. And you don't want it to pop off, right? You want it to stay. I mean, that's the whole point. And because it's soft, you can move it around. So even if it's not exactly the shape you want, move the clay around. You can push it and pull it, you know? So I'm going to get rid of that shape. So remember to pick it up and look at it from all different sides. Now it's better. So I wanted it to come up right there. Come up and out. All right. The nostril. Do not use this. Use this. Use the finger you normally pick your nose with, all right? And go up in there and go like that. And you're going to go up in there and go like that. There. There's the nostril. Easy schmeezy. It looks way better than this. This just looks like that. And that's not really, it's too perfectly round. Okay, so the next thing. Scatter these little dots, which are meant to be, I don't know what they're supposed to be, but you know what? I like them. Put some there. Put some up in here. Scatter them. Don't do the whole thing. Scatter. Maybe put a few up in here. Do some lightly, maybe do a few a little deeper. And then I like to use, and if you got too many on there, super easy to erase. Where's the guts at that I had? There it is. So I'm going to put the smaller one in between. It's not a whole lot smaller, but it's smaller. And I like that variety. Okay, there's his that texture there. Now, if you look to the left nostril, he's got some lines on there that I think are supposed to be stylized hairs. And if you're going to use your pen tool to draw with, always lay it down. And don't make those quite so straight. You can leave that there. Now, I want to add some textural detail. Now, one of the things I didn't tell you about in your notes was how to make some nose hair. The best way to do it is you get a pencil and you draw 3 dents in your clay nostril. Get some clay, a little pinch of clay, and you'll make 3 coils, little tiny small ones. Oh, wait a minute, I don't mean to make 3. This is long enough to where I could probably just use this. Get a little slip in there. And I'm going to make this one first. Going to make a little point for it to go into the hole with that you made. And anytime you add something, make sure it's on there really nice. And if you want that to look like hair, you have to take the time to score underneath, but don't blend. So see, I scored there, but I'm not going to blend it because I want it to stick out. And then I'm going to make a small one. My hands are getting a little sticky, so use your towel to dry with. And then put that in there. See, there you go. There's some hair hanging out the nose. Okay, let's talk about lichen. Some people call it moss because they don't know it's called lichen, like me. And then I read an article a long time ago about how important lichen is. It tells you how healthy a forest is by the color lichen is. It's that green stuff that grows on, that you can peel off a rock or a tree. Okay, so slip and score. Slip and score the area that you're going to add lichen to. So this is what I wanted to show you. A dried up sponge does great texture. Don't have that? Get a piece of paper, wad it up. I tore it in half, so you don't need quite that much. Wad it up again, do it a couple times. And then create a little jaggedy shape right there. And when you press that into the clay, it's going to look like either bark. See the stuff that's along the nose right there? You can make it look like bark. And when you put a piece of clay on there, kind of push it around a little bit before you even stick it on there. It can look like bark or lichen. So I don't want this edge to be a smooth edge. I want it to be kind of an irregular one. So see how I just pushed the paper in there and it made that irregular edge. And then I layered it a little bit. And there you go. I want that irregular edge. I'm going to put some up here. Again, before you even stick it on there, smash it a little bit, maybe layer it a little bit, twist it a little bit, even before you put it on there. And remember, you're trying to make something look like bark. And I need to get the little sponge and get rid of some of that slip that's sticking out. All right. So see that shape there that I created? There's a smooth shape. You don't want that. Put a little texture on there. Texture goes a long way in ceramics. And you need to make sure this edge is kind of irregular and organic. If we were in regular class, I would have spent at least 2 or 3 days just talking about nothing but shapes, because there's a language to art that you got to learn, and shapes are one of them, and how to describe a shape. And then take the time maybe to smooth some of that. If it's too textured, you got to smooth a little bit of it out. So there should be rough and smooth in layers. Okay, that's good. That's what I want. Now I'm going to make some leaves. And this is a leaf I did not show you how to do for your eye, because I understand the more stuff I throw at you, it gets stressful, you don't remember, and that's okay, I know that. All right, so here is a leaf. Basic leaf shape that I already taught you. Find a sharp pencil or something like a sharp pencil and lay this on your finger and then push down, and you're going to make this shape right here. This is a negative shape. This is going to be the positive shape. And then depending how you line up this is called stamping. You're going to stamp it. You're not going to draw with the pencil. Okay, and you can even use the edge of this pencil and bring that in. So you have these nice little points now. Score the back of that. And you should make a couple of them before you decide where to put them, but I want to make sure you guys have a little bit of time in class to work. So I'm just going to stick it on there right like that. And then I'm going to use my modeling tool. So I got it on there, but I want to make sure it stays. So I'm going to use this to make a line for the vein that goes on there. And you can even make some secondary veins by going like that. You can use a pen tool too, that works. Okay, there's a leaf. I would put more leaves and stuff up here. The last thing I want to show you today before you, because we got almost 20 minutes left of class, I want to show you how to make a worm. Get some clay. You're going to make a coil about as thick as a pencil. Roll it on a sponge so you can get some moisture back in there. Because remember, every time you touch clay, it dries out. That moisture, if your hand is wet, that means the clay that used to be, the water that used to be in the clay is now in your hand. All right, so I'm going to make a worm coming out of this end of his nose. I'm going to put it right there. So I'm going to make a dent. Find a comb. You need a comb for this. And you can clean the comb and put it back in the drawer before anyone knows it's missing. So you're going to roll it. See how I'm rolling it and it makes those lines? Don't think you can just go like this and make dents. It's just not the same. Don't do it that way. You can use a tool. If you lose some of these lines, once you put it on your project, you can redo them. But at this point, you don't need to, so don't. Okay, so I'm gonna, when you have a small area to put slip in, use a pen tool. Get in there with your pen tool. Smush around. I'm gonna put this end in there. So it looks like it's living in his nose. It's his friend. Now, don't do this. Don't have it sticking up like that. You need to make sure wherever you decide to put it, you got to score it on there so it doesn't fall off. And because what happens is this stuff dries and then it breaks. So I'm going to put this here like that. And then I'm going to curl it around and bring it around like this. You can't have it standing up like that. This will break. So I'm going to just lay it on there like this. And what I could do, if it breaks, you can always do it in segments. Sometimes it's even easier to do it in segments. Oh no, that got wet. So again, wherever you're going to decide to lay this, you have to put some slip on there so it doesn't break off. And there he is. I'm going to reshape this a little bit. Be gentle that you don't get rid of the detail. If you accidentally get rid of some detail, you can stamp that a little bit. And then to show you how to do a segment, you just slip and score. So I'm going to slip underneath here because it was moving. So that tells me I didn't slip it enough. I'm going to push that down. I'm going to slip and score here. I don't like that. That's too much. There, I like that. So I can raise it up if there's something underneath it to support it, and there is. So I'm going to score right here, and then I'm going to make a little dent right here because the worms go in, the worms go out, and I don't know the rest of the song. All right, you can stick that in there, and there you go. A wormy nose. Next week, we're going to talk about the back. So what we're going to do is hollow some of this out. Now, remember I gave you those 4 wires to help hang these things. Now, see where they have extra score marks right here and here? This sponge, or I think this is really a job for the modeling tool. You need to get in there and smooth out the score marks that you're not using. And so there's that. Inside, I can see some score marks, but it doesn't matter because it's in there. You're not going to really notice. All right, I'm going to stop the share.